Oh, yes. Colleagues, co-workers, Michael Dean, what's up? And welcome to Friends from Work. My name is Al Jackson, but that's unimportant. What's important is that I am joined by one of your most beloved human beings. Michael Dean is in the building. Michael, how are you, my friend?
You know what? Today is a day. It's Tuesday. It's the 24th. I'm really excited to be here with you, Al. And to be honest with you, there's so much going on personally that it's really nice to not have to think about it for an hour.
That
Right?
honestly, to pull back the curtain for a little while, that's what I've been telling Tori. Obviously, I'm not talking out of school when I'm telling people that she's dealing with her own personal stuff, as we all are. But I just thank you, Brandon. Please smash the like button, leave a comment. It really does help us in the algorithm, that almighty algorithm. But yeah, I just think that and it's nothing that I haven't lived anytime like I have something that's a mental drain on me, Michael Dean, I just throw myself into work because sitting around thinking about it doesn't help.
No.
You'll just figure out different ways to be upset, probably justifiably in a lot of situations, but it doesn't help. You know what does? Taking that 1 hour and just like, I'm going to put that aside and find a story. I'm going to put that aside and say what's up to a colleague. We've got lots of stuff to not put aside, my friend. Michael Dean, I know you have a plethora of stories for us, but I have a couple for you just to kick us off. Before these are what I'll designate as our pre-story. So, Michael Dean, let's do this one first. Did you see the Trump appointee for FEMA and that interview that he had where he talked about? Well, I'm not going to spoil it, Michael Dean. I'll let him take it away. This is the person that's a major figure in FEMA. So just remember that as you take this in, colleagues.
House like 50 miles away from where I was.
That man who is, yes, talking about teleporting to a Waffle House is Greg Phillips, and he now holds one of the most important jobs at FEMA, overseeing the Office of Response and Recovery.
It was an incredibly frightening moment to experience yourself in your car flying through the air. But I tell you, teleporting is no fun.
Phillips is a far-right activist, and he now helps determine how the government responds when disaster strikes, coordinating billions of dollars in search and rescue operations and emergency aid. He was appointed to this position in December, and a CNN K-File review of Phillips' podcast and social media history found a long record of extraordinary personal claims.
We then tracked down what we felt like were 3 million non-citizen voters,
election fraud conspiracy theories, and violent rhetoric towards public officials.
You said we know that 3 million illegally voted. Do you have the proof?
Yes.
Will you provide it?
Yes.
Can I have it?
No.
In January 2025, after Trump took office, Phillips was discussing a Trump executive order that targeted intelligence officials who had questioned the veracity of Hunter Biden's laptop before the 2020 election. Phillips said this:
I'm going to find you. I'm going to track you down. I'm going to beat the living snot out of you.
He then talked about former President Joe Biden.
I would like to punch that in the mouth right now. He is a nasty, crappy human being, and he deserves to die, and I hope he does.
Phillips first rose to prominence promoting false claims of widespread voter fraud in the 2016 and 2020 elections. The unfounded claims were widely disputed by both courts and election officials. On multiple occasions, Phillips described migrants crossing the southern border as an invading force and urged people to arm themselves.
The war is here. They want you dead. They've come here to kill you.
Okay, I think that's enough of that guy. Michael Dean, yeah. He's over FEMA now, which is I don't think that's a great thing. Let me ask you this though, and we're always honest on this podcast. Have you ever teleported? Because I know when I was drinking, I definitely did.
There were a few times, where blackout, I was one place before and then miraculously somewhere else. I actually, in college, I believe my car teleported because it was there at the beginning of the night. It wasn't there afterwards. And I still to this day have no idea where it went. It's somewhere in the Atlanta metro area. If you find it, it's a gold Acura. Anyways, yeah, like Yeah, that I mean, only while under the influence did I ever teleport.
Yeah, that is teleporting for me would always be I would do the show in some like small southern city. I'd be in like Port Charlotte, Florida. You do the show, there's a couple going, hey, do you want to hang out? We got some friends coming over. You go over their house. Next thing you know, you black out, you're on their couch, their dog's next to you. And then some guy you've never met goes, do you want to finish your shot? And then you go, what? And then you hear somebody go, wow, you took that shot and went, and you go, what? And then you black out again, and then you're in somebody's car, and then you wake up again, and you're in your hotel room with your shoes on, in the bed with your shoes on. That's how I used to teleport. The only problem is, Michael Dean, this guy is over FEMA, and for as much as we have fun with these terrifying human beings, which Trump finds the most extreme, the problem is that these have real life consequences that I don't think we always tie in, because we sometimes a story involving FEMA happens before or after something like this surfaces. But it made me think about this. Do you remember this story? The Texas flash flood at Camp Mystic,
Oh yeah,
where it was that right.
Big or didn't respond for now like a day in the middle of all this.
Yes, they did not deploy the resources at FEMA's fingertips. Some would say that that's all FEMA's there to do, is to deploy emergency resources. And a lot of young girls did not get the critical warning that they needed, because the camp where the camp was located was prone to flash flooding, and a number of young people were cut down early. I can't even say in the prime of their lives, early at the beginning of their lives, because we have Mr. I teleported to a Waffle House, not even to a church or like something that like would be to a wall. Did you order? Did you tell the waitress like I teleported here? You should phone the authorities. Like, was your car there too? Like, I just have so many questions. But Michael Dean, we don't have time for all that, because I do want to get to my other pre-story of the day. You know me, I love sports and I love the storylines that go along with them. So Michael Dean, did you see this story? All right.
In front of them, you can see a text thread which reads, "A lot of crazy Hispanic fans," to which the woman types out, "All Hispanics, how can they afford it?" Well, that struck a nerve online. News 4.
Yes, Michael Dean, your face. First of all, Michael Dean, she was at a San Antonio Spurs game. San Antonio, one of my favorite cities, one of the best sports cities. I went to the Final Four down in San Antonio. San Antonio, I believe, is 65% Hispanic. So it's weird that she's at a game like, sup with all this? And also, if you're going to be typing racist stuff, can you not do it in 89-point font? What are you using, Horizon? Yeah, what a come on, bro. What do you do? Like, but like I said, San Antonio.
That's the phone version of a hot mic.
Absolutely. That is a hot mic. In typing as slow as somebody, I believe there was one finger being used at one point. The best thing about San Antonio, besides the fact that it's one of the warmest cities in the country, the team released this statement, Michael Dean, which I thought was really cool. Let's get this racist out of the way, and let's put this up. Basically, it's saying all of us in the Spurs organization are proud to live in San Antonio, a city that shines and thrives because of the culture and contributions of our Latino community. Damn right. Inclusion is a foundation for the San Antonio Spurs, and we strive to provide an environment in our facilities and across our community that celebrates belonging and respect, regardless of race or ethnicity. Por vida. And I believe is that for life? Please, yeah. I hope. Yeah. Okay. I just, Michael Dean, I'm really interested in this woman because she clearly is not a fan of the minorities, right? Okay, that's your business. So where do you want to go? Let's go to a basketball game. Who's gonna be there? Probably lots of black guys. Okay, she's probably not a big fan, but don't worry. Not only does the San Antonio Spurs have a bunch of black dudes they also have a 7'6" black guy from France. So he's also a foreigner. So she is just, and she's surrounded. I'm like, ma'am, why are you there? But I will say this, Michael Dean, it did lead to a lot of, let me get rid of this. It did lead to a lot of like really kind of cool, like now they're selling t-shirts, and it sparked this whole fan craze where people were just saying, and a lot of the fans, most of the fans that I saw were saying, we don't want her banned from the stadium. We want her to come in and become a part of our family. So I thought that was really dope.
You know, here's my take on this, Al, and this is coming from a personal perspective. So, you know, I grew up here in Denver, and I had one experience of minorities living in this city. And I was so sheltered and only saw one thing. And then I went to school in Atlanta at Emory, and the minority community is the majority community there, and it's completely different. And it was completely different from what I had grown up with. And I went there with my biased, prejudiced self, and I was shocked by what I saw because I had never seen it before. I really hadn't, and I had all of these thoughts in my head that if I were to say them out loud, would have sounded just as ignorant as this woman. It was because it was just because of where I was raised, what I knew, and I think having an experience where you like get to see people in new light and be like, oh, it's not like all I see on TV, or it's not just like Fox News presents it. You know what I mean? Like there's a different reality out there that I don't know. People should be allowed to grow and open their perspectives and be like, oh, maybe I was like prejudiced or biased or didn't know better before. So I don't know. Maybe I just believe humanity can grow and that like people are capable of change. I don't know. I just hope this woman ends up. I don't know.
I think you hit it on the head. You're speaking for all of us. Everybody comes into this world with biases and preconceived notions because you haven't experienced yet. And it doesn't always have to relate to people. Right. A lot of times you go, I don't want to go to a glass blowing festival. That sounds, and then you go and you're like, I might do this for a living. You don't know until you get there what you're going to like. So up until that moment, you're going on what you've previously been exposed to and how you feel about that. And a lot of times, people like this woman, people like yourself going down to a majority black city, is you're going there with only what you could be going there with, which is the what you know and what the people that have been tasked to guide you through this life have told you. But you were able to overcome that programming and say, wait a second, the stuff that they're telling me isn't checking out. And you were able to rewrite your programming. And I appreciate you sharing that because it's hard to admit. It's hard for any of us to admit that we have biases. So I really appreciate that. That takes a lot of courage. So Michael Dean, why don't you kick us off into our first story of the day? Hold on. Let me hit you with this and let's get to it. All right, Michael Dean. So whatever order you want to throw them up, we'll knock them out.
Okay, well, let's start with this one. And this was on the front page of the New York Times. Wow, my voice really doesn't sound good. Does it sound weird on there?
You sound great. You sound like a man that's working hard for this show.
Okay, so the Saudi Crown Prince apparently is calling Trump and pushing him to keep the war going in Iran. He thinks that this is a historic moment where we can create change, and he wants Trump to continue to instigate this change, whatever that's going to be, and somehow it's going to be better afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think he believes that, Michael Dean. I don't think he believes that. I think that he's pushing Trump because and this is just my opinion. Maybe this would be considered conspiratorial, but we know that the Saudis and those Gulf states over there have a keen interest in who wins this war, who controls the Strait of Hormuz, who controls the distribution of oil all over the world, the distribution of natural gases, fertilizers all over the world. And maybe they don't want it to be the U.S. If you really didn't like somebody and you wanted to see them get beat up, wouldn't you say, hey, you see that big football player over there? Why don't you go smack him in the back of the head at lunch and just, you can take him. I don't think for 1 second, if anybody has seen what's going on in this war, that we got this. I don't think anybody could be thinking that. And so I think that, one, why are we listening to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, except for the fact that we've taken a lot of money from him? Jared Kushner took $2 billion, in fact, but also, like, who cares what he thinks? The issue is that we've started a war in which we have no plausible out at this point, because Trump keeps trying to end it. He's going, we killed everybody, I think it's over. And Iran is like, I don't think so. So Trump can't leave. And now we've got somebody who we know doesn't have, I should hope, has his country's interests first and foremost. So I think that they're pushing the U.S. into this war because they know it's a war that we can't win. They absolutely know it's a war we can't win.
I think that there's another motivating factor here for the Saudis.
Talk to me.
Oil prices. I mean, what has this war done? It's driven up oil prices more than 30%. Guess who has a shit ton of oil? I mean, they're going to be laughing all the way to the bank. The longer the oil prices stay higher, the Saudis get to make more and more money. It also gives them an excuse to buy more and more weapons and arm themselves. The Saudis and the Iranians, I believe historically have always been enemies. I don't think I don't think there's a lot of love there. So this is good for their pocketbook. They get to watch the other big oil influence in the region get demolished, and I think it feeds all of their interests. What makes me really pissed off when I hear this is this whole MAGA thing. This somehow, all of this stuff is good for us Americans. This is the way you make America great. Because who gets blamed when that tower gets bombed and someone's father, mother, brother, sister gets killed there, and that person becomes radicalized? Do they go and take out a block in Riyadh? No, they aim their sights on us. So right. It's a bunch of confusing things. I don't know who the president is listening to, although I bet you it makes Trump feel good to have someone like that asking for him to do this, and it feeds his ego to be like, oh, it, we'll bomb them into the Stone Age,
right? Or die trying. And
right.
That's the bottom line. I think that we are all seeing that air campaigns, and it's been well-tilled soil, that air campaigns alone do not cause a regime change. What you need is boots on the ground. And Michael Dean, what I talked about yesterday was the fact that there were videos that came out from the Iranians last week saying, please come on in here, dog. Why don't you come on in here? Iran is ready for any kind of ground invasion. That ground invasion will not be easy. Iran is a mountainous region on every side of the country. In between those mountains and the major cities that we claim to try and get at, there are two gigantic deserts that you must cross after you get through the mountainous regions, which will have drones, which will have missiles, which will have sneak attacks. Trying to occupy Iran or cause a regime change would be at the cost of hundreds, possibly thousands of American bodies. And I believe that Iran knows that. And you have to understand, once we go in there and we have 100 soldiers killed, You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, bro. Like once you do that, now you can't leave. You can't say we got a bunch of soldiers killed and we left with a tail behind our legs, between our legs. Now we have to stay until we win. But the problem is, Michael Dean, we didn't define what a win looks like. Are we talking about a regime change? Okay, well, technically we did that. We replaced the old Ayatollah with an Ayatollah 30 years younger that has had his parents and his wife and one of his children killed. So we want to get a meaner, younger one. Mission accomplished. Where's the George Bush battleship when you need it? You know, when we're talking about a regime change, I don't think anybody thinks that's a possibility unless you tear down the entire region, making Iran a failed state, which a lot of people, especially Israel, wants to make Iran a failed state that you can control. And what I've heard about failed states, which I always thought was really interesting, is it's easy to take down a failed state. We saw that with Iraq, but it's hard to occupy because they don't even have the infrastructure. So not only do you have to take them over, but you almost have to bring them up. It'd be like you and I taking over an abandoned house. We're like, this is our house now. Oh, we need to put in all new pipes and plumbing and also electricity and also pay all the bills. And like once you start having to manage and take care of an entire country that hates you and does not want you there, what do we have? We have Afghanistan and Iraq all over again. Not what, 5 years after we've been out of Afghanistan, here we are again. And it's disappointing. I think Americans are exhausted. Nobody was calling for this war. And like you said, there are a few MAGA people that just look at Fox News to figure out how they're going to answer questions from their niece at Thanksgiving. But for the most part, most of us are like, are you all serious right now? And the answer is sadly, yes, they are.
But let's stay on this topic and get to the next little bit here.
Please.
Because yesterday, Trump was in Memphis talking about, okay, I don't remember, but Hegseth was there next to him, and he seemed to say that
it was a rambling speech. I saw it. So he kind of covered a number of subjects. So you're not wrong.
Yeah, but he seemed to say that Hegseth was the one that suggested that we do all of this, and lots of people are saying that he is setting Hegseth up as the one to blame when things go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. If things were going really well in Iran, would Trump give anybody credit except himself? He knows when things are going poorly. And I would argue also, Michael Dean, this is the first time probably in our lifetime and definitely in his lifetime where he can't do his Trump BS wiggle out of it, because our government in a lot of ways is set up for rich people to co-opt it. It's set up where you can't really indict a sitting president, and it's considered untoward to go after a president that's out of power. So a lot of the terrible stuff he was doing was kind of already and plus he has a Supreme Court that's like, he has immunity. So he's never really had to deal with a group of people that have morals and they believe in something. No matter how we feel about what they believe, they're ready to die for it. And I don't think that that's something that Trump even understands. I literally don't. And that's not even a shade to him. I don't think he has any core belief that he's like, I'm ready to stand 10 toes down on this and I'm willing to die for it. And these are the first people that are like, no, you can kill us. We're going to be right here. Why don't you come on in here? And Trump's like, well, the war's kind of over. And they're like, no, it's really not. Why don't you come over here? And he won't, because it's the first time that his Trump BS apprentice tactics aren't working. And he doesn't know what to do. He keeps trying to end it. He keeps trying to say we're talking. He keeps trying to say they're scared. He keeps trying to say we killed other leaders, so we can't negotiate. He keeps trying to say, well, the ones that are still alive keep calling us. They're like, we haven't talked to you at all. Everything that he's saying is a man flailing. And when he starts to flail, he's like, I'm not going down by myself. You know who really wanted this? Pete Hegseth. I was golfing, bro. And Pete was like, dude, we got to do this war. And I was like, man, let me hit this tee and then I'll hit you back. And next thing I know, he did it. He's already trying to kind of shoot off because he sees, especially with the midterms coming, he sees the horizon of impeachment, and he sees the fact that a lot of his people might be going to jail. And these Democrats know that the Democrats that have supported them aren't going to do this whole let's look forward, not backward bullshit. They're like, these people go to jail, or we'll place you and get some people in here that will put these people in jail. Because this is a different demographic of Democrats, brother.
I'm a little worried, and I wish I shared your optimism. Like, I'm pretty sure the Democrats can take back the House. I don't know so much about the Senate, but we'll see. I mean, I wish it would be a huge landslide, but I don't know. I just feel like we're going to be mired in this for.
I don't know, Michael Dean. Any other year, I would totally agree. And I mean, obviously, there's a chance that you could be correct, and history has proven that what you're saying is correct. But this is the first time that every single thing that the Republicans have done has been wildly unpopular, including stories that we're going to get to later about what's going on at the airport. Don't forget, people are going to, around election time, people are going to start to see Renee Good and Alex Peretti and be like, don't forget what they did here. Don't forget what they, and we got a long way to the door with this war. How many bodies? I'm hoping the number is 0. Will there be? How many caskets will we have seen come home between now and the midterms? And, you know, I mean, we've already seen deep red districts flip. Deep Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, they elected that moron. And they were like, we got to go Democrat. So if that's possible, obviously what you're saying, until they prove us wrong, I see where you're coming from, but I think for the first time ever, and especially Michael, then we ain't even talked about gas prices yet, bro. What if Americans have been paying $6 at the pump, $6.50 a gallon for the last 5 months?
Well, you know, I think it's interesting. I saw that, like, there are a lot of Republicans who are like, it's worth it for the war in Iran to pay higher prices. And I'm like, I wonder how long people are going to feel that way. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how many people feel that way now. I don't know. I haven't met them. I mean, because this is also a country that, you know, the job growth is 0. It's flatlined. There's no job growth. Nobody can afford a house. Now nobody can afford health care. The big beautiful bill gutted and attacked a lot of the communities that have supported him. Those communities have also been ripped apart by tariffs. And on top of that, you're going to throw $6-7 gas at me? I don't know, Michael Dean. If they support him through this, we should all be so lucky to have a fan base like that, because he's now ripping at the fabric of people's lives, not just kind of like obscure details. We're talking about it's going to affect people's daily lives, especially people that live. What if you work 30 miles away from your job?
Right.
What are you paying?
Well, and, you know, also farm workers.
Yeah.
Not farm workers, but all the farmers, because, you know, they're screwed by the tariffs, and now it costs so much more for fertilizer and for diesel. And I mean, like, they just get screwed every chance they can by Trump. And
don't forget, he also terrified their workers away. Don't forget that. He directly went after their workforce.
So yeah, I mean, I wish it made more sense to me why people don't vote for their economic interests, but I also don't think Democrats do a great job of explaining how they're going to make things affordable either. Yeah. Hey, Al, question for you. Sorry to move on.
Yeah.
Where do you think the wait is the longest to get through security in America right now?
Oh. All right. I'm thinking where are a lot of people going through? I'm going to go with Dallas or Atlanta.
Wow, Houston.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Close. I mean, you said Dallas. It is 3 hours and 20 minutes right now to get through security at Terminal E in Houston. It's 51 minutes at Kennedy in New York. Everywhere else seems pretty reasonable, but I've been watching this all day. Houston and Texas in general have the worst wait times. And
I mean,
what are we doing about it?
oh, I mean, I know that we've got our best and brightest on it, right? Don't we have our boys in off blue ice is there? Untrained, stupid, literally a visual trigger for many Americans that haven't forgotten way back to Minneapolis, which was 3-4 months ago. And what are they doing there? Do you know exactly what ICE is doing? It seems like they're just standing and just intimidating. I had this picture from yesterday.
Yeah.
So what is this slack-jawed yokel going to be doing about the line?
My understanding is that they are not going to be screening passengers because that would take, training. That they are going to be standing where TSA agents normally just stand and guard. So yeah, I think that's their job, is to stand and look menacing with really big guns that make up for really small other appendages.
Well, Michael Dean, what do you think about the not so conspiracy theory that this is just a dry run for the elections?
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe they should just ICE, TSA election workers. They should just make all one big badge.
Right. I mean, maybe, but I don't think TSA wants to be associated with them. First of all, TSA are they a yeah, they are. I guess they are a government-run organization. But the idea of your plan is we're not going to pay TSA. Okay, we're going to defund the government. We're not going to pay TSA. We're not going to pay our air traffic controllers. We also had a fatal collision. I believe it was it yesterday, the Air Canada flight.
Oh my God, how is that?
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this before we get back into how comfortable do you feel flying?
Usually very comfortable.
Yeah.
I generally feel like you're more likely to get into an accident on the way to or from the airport than you ever will flying. And so I feel like if I made it to the airport without getting in an accident, I'm good.
Yeah. And now I just don't know. It's just like, it's amazing how, and I kind of go back to our DBL days where just like all the conservative people, on camera and off camera were like, you're blowing everything out of proportion. It's not that bad. And now here we are 2 years later, and it's seeped into every single aspect of our lives. I was at your birthday party, I was talking to friends that work at other stations, and subsequently that Sunday or Monday, my mom sent me an article saying that Tegna, our old parent company, has been bought by Nexstar. So now in Denver, Nexstar owns Fox, NBC, and CBS, correct? What do they have?
It's KDVR, and I don't think it's CBS, but it's Fox and NBC for sure. And I think they have another station, like I forget what it is.
Right. So one company here has 50% of the mainstream television market, to the point where I heard that the NBC and Fox buildings are just going to be in the same building. They're just going to consolidate. And it just made me think about, go ahead.
Sorry. They own KDVR, which is Fox 31. They own CW2. They own KUSA TV, which is the NBC station. And they also own KTVD, which is the My 20 my TV 20. So that is 4 different stations here. And
Yeah.
it brings them to 80% in America.
So one company just in one city has 4 stations. You know what it made me think about, Michael Dean? Really what this country is kind of the illusion of choice. It's like when you go, should I go to TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Ross, or Nordstrom's Rack? And you find out they're all the same company. When you find out that Pepsi also owns 7-Up and Mountain Dew, and it's like you really don't have a choice. You have one company with a number of different subsidiaries, but they're all kind of the same thing. And our choice in different airlines has gone away. There's not as many carriers. If you'd like to watch television in the Denver area, which is a major American city, one company will block, has their say over 4 of those stations. And if you really want to get deep into it, the other station is CBS, which is owned by Larry Ellison. And Larry Ellison will also own CNN and Comedy Central and HBO as well. So that's one man and one company that own how much of and he owns TikTok. We are at the period. We are here. This is authoritarianism. It's not even light. It's just like not in your face. They're just not making you call the president the grand leader. But this is what it looks like, y'all. This is what it looks like. TikTok, and also with the situation where you have with TikTok, Twitter, Zuckerberg, with Instagram and Facebook, they also control the algorithms. So they control what you see in your feeds. And that's why we always tell you guys, tell a friend to tell a friend, because we are obviously not bowing and getting on one knee for the dear leader. So our content is not going to be elevated to the top. There's a reason that I almost name some people I know. There's a reason why certain creators got really big. A lot of comedians got really big with no comedy. Don't you think that's really interesting? A lot of these comics, other comics, Chris Rock is a comic. No matter how you feel about him, Dave Chappelle's a comic. Robin Williams is a comic. How are all these comedians so big with no specials, no stand-up, no quotable jokes? It's because the algorithm knows that they speak to a targeted demographic and they shoot them to the top. Shout out Spotify, who is also owned by a Chinese company that might want to see America fall. Tencent, which owns a lot of Spotify. Shout out to Hank over there holding it down. There's a lot of corruption. So just keep your eyes out. And also, if there's content that you guys like, whether it's ours or other people that are trying to, at least as we're being swallowed into the belly of the beast, trying to hold on to the sides of the cheeks, make sure to give us a shout out.
I'll just real quick about your point. I thought it was really interesting. So Amazon released that Melania documentary, and they immediately put it at the top. They're number 1 for their movies, like the top 10 movies in America, was the big Melania one. So it was the very first tile you saw. And I was just thinking, like, I don't know, do you think they just put it there so people thought it was popular and they would click on it, or what? Because I can't imagine that all of the, Amazon Prime Video viewers are like, oh my God, it's finally out. Let's go watch Melania. It's the same thing where they just shoot them to the top because guess what? They spent a lot of money on it and they're trying to recoup it or make it make sense.
I don't even know that they're trying to recoup it, Michael Dean. I think that we saw, especially in the last year, just blatant bribes. If I say, Michael Dean, Sarah and I are looking to sell our car and we're trying to gain favor with you, Michael Dean, and we say, you know what, Michael Dean, we're going to sell you our car for $7. And you say it's worth more than that. Well, why would we be doing that? It's because we're trying to gain favor with you. It's not about like, wow, Alan Sarr got really ripped off. we know what things cost. Why would a Melania documentary that nobody wanted be the most expensive documentary in history? $40 million, 30 of that she pocketed.
Right.
For what? It's just a bribe. It's just a there are different ways that you can bribe. We saw this with CBS before their eventual takeover with their bribe, which Stephen Colbert called out. And that was one of the reasons that he was canceled. This has been going on in plain sight under the guise of lawsuits, under the guise of payments for documentaries. But, there's a reason they went and got Brett Ratner of the Epstein Files fame to direct this. The irony, Michael Dean, that Brett Ratner, who's in the Epstein Files picture with that Jeffrey Epstein, is making a documentary about Melania, who's also in the Epstein Files, and shows her interacting with her husband, the president, Donald Trump, who's also in the Epstein Files. It seems like a normalization and a whitewashing of the fact that we're looking at people that have, it seems to be, well, in Trump's case, credibly accused of sexual assault, and also plausibly accused by the findings of the files, for as difficult as they've tried to make them to decipher. So, I mean, what we're looking at right here is half of our cabinet, the Commerce Secretary. How many Republicans aren't in there? And let's work backwards. I mean, this is really, really disturbing stuff, and it's been so normalized that we just kind of wash over it. But some really untoward things are happening with our government, and we're seeing them discussed or not discussed. In the case of CBS, did you see that last week on 60 Minutes? You know what they covered, Michael Dean?
No, what? Tell me.
It wasn't the war in Iraq. It wasn't what's going on at our airports or what's going on at the gas station. They were discussing whether changing certain things in a dog's genome could help it live longer.
Oh,
that's what CBS is covering. During the most tumultuous time of our adult lives, CBS is going after the news that everybody else is scared to talk about. So shout out to Barry Weiss.
You're wrong. It wasn't just dog longevity. They also talked about, ready for this?
Yes.
Rare earth mining and the U.S. shipbuilding crisis.
Yeah. So,
I
mean, it's what everybody's talking about.
Those weren't even on my on my menu card for top concerns for 60 Minutes.
Yeah, it's so blatant and it's so corrupt that it's almost not to be discussed, and it's almost so embarrassing. I do hope that we make it through this period, so there will be documentaries made about what happened right now, and how it will not be repeated during my kids or y'all's grandkids generation, because this is what happens when things get out of control and there's no credible opposition. I see who is it? Hakeem Jeffries is on a book tour. I'm like, good for you, brother. Hey, he ain't got nothing else to do. It's not like anything else is going on. Good luck in your tour. I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble and buy one and throw it at you. You bum. Let's do the next story.
Okay. Let's do this one. There's a new statue at the White House. Do you want to guess what it is of?
MLK?
I mean, that would be nice. But no. Does anybody know on chat here? Do you guys know what Trump just had a well-known historical figure statue installed on the White House grounds?
Charlie Kirk?
You know what? The initials are similar, but no. Christopher, there we go. Brandon got it right.
Yes. Oh, good old-fashioned. They keep bringing him back, don't they, Brandon? I don't know what it is. This was like, I can say this from my time at DBL. Christopher Columbus was like the first issue where, like, I was looking at some of my conservative friends and being like, is this the hill that you guys are going to die on? Christopher Columbus is not a good person, guys. I know that what we were taught as little kids made him seem heroic. First of all, this dumbbell was lost. He didn't know where he was. Didn't he crash into the West Indies anyway? Like, he didn't land in America.
Right,
Once
no.
he got situated here, he began to slaughter people in short order. He was not a good person. And I don't know why, like, a lot of Republicans are like, he symbolizes them. Like, if you knew him, he would have tried to kill you and assault your wife. Like, he's not like your homeboy. Like, why are they like sticking their flag in this awful, awful man?
Well, it's interesting. That's it, by the way. Which is so funny because doesn't he look like scholarly and gentle?
Yes, it looks like he's like trying to engage local urban youths in a game of basketball and then a poetry reading.
When it's like this man slaughtered as many locals as possible, was savage. You know, I was thinking about it. Those ships that they came on out weren't very big. They were really pretty small, and they had terrible, like, you know, it's not like they had bathrooms on board or anything. So these men came off these boats. They smelled horribly.
I can't even imagine.
Terrible nutrition.
Oh, man.
And they came with guns when nobody else had any, and they just did whatever the heck they wanted, and you know, shot and killed locals until they got what they wanted, if they weren't slaughtered, right? I mean, that's basically how all these things went. But like, you wonder who are the savages in this situation. It's just like, but what we're shown and what's important for us to look at is, you know, is this, because this is the image that we're supposed to look at.
Yeah, the concept of continuing to take and acquire territory, manifest destiny. We're seeing it all over the world, where it's just like the people, if they live on that land, they're, like you said, they're savages. They don't know what they have. So I'm going to take it over because this is my destiny. You were living here, but I'm going to start doing that to the colleagues. I'm going to roll up on ELC. I know you're in Indianapolis, man. I'm going to come find you. I'm going to take your place out and be like, I'm sorry, I live here now. Manifest destiny. Look it up. It's you know, the brainwashing starts early, and you see how effective it is, Michael Dean, because we saw grown men that were willing to continue to defend this monster.
So look it up, Brady. This is what he did. Upon arrival in 1942, he seized indigenous people that he called the Taino Indians and sent them back to Spain. He said that they would be good servants, and many of those died on the way. And then he implemented a system where every single of these Taino people over the age of 14 was required to deliver a quota of gold or cotton every 3 months. And if you didn't, they'd chop your hands off. And then they went ahead and raped and abused indigenous women and girls. And then, of course,
some traditions never change, huh? I mean, look at us, Michael Dean, 400 years later, 600 years, 500 years later, and we're still talking about the rape and abuse of sexually trafficked girls overseas. Do you see a pattern here?
Yeah.
Do you see a thought pattern here about who's worth, whose life is worth something and whose life is to be used for your pleasure? Please continue.
Oh, I mean, I think really the thing that he should be thought of as the forefounder of is establishing the transatlantic slave trade.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. That was I mean, besides the mass slaughter of people, that was his biggest legacy.
Yeah. All right. Well, Michael Dean, let's get to the next story. He is a terrible person. And if you support him, just do me a favor, just read something. There's so many people that did so much dope shit throughout the years. You don't have to pick the one guy you heard about in 1984 and ride with it. You can literally just pick your phone up and type in cool person from history and take your pick.
So This is kind of going backwards, but here we go. Delta Airlines has cut off VIP treatment for members of Congress, trying to get them to reach an agreement to pay TSA workers.
Yeah.
So this, let me double check what it means. They will, that's what they get. No longer get access to a dedicated airline help desk that fast tracks bookings. They will not have fast track through the airport. They will have to go with the masses. And so they will not be swept in to check in with ease. Basically they're gonna be treated like any other passenger.
I love it. You know what'll get something done quickly is a congressman having to stand in line with pissed off constituents for 3 hours. And another thing, the potholes on my street are ridiculous. Yeah, look, this is what we need. We need things to be not so comfortable for them. I would like to see us take this a step further. We want to start saying, hey, we should have attacked Iran for the last 47 years. I'm sure you have a son. I'm sure you got a grandson or a granddaughter. Barron Trump, I think, what is he, 7'2"? He's like the Wembanyama of young future racists. Let's put him out there. Let's get Kai Trump. Isn't she 18? Doesn't she love this country? She uses our Secret Service. Let's have her be the face to recruit other young, wealthy, young people, and let's have them land in the Rocky Mountain region of Iran. And let's see how much they love this country. If you parade around saying USA, USA, then let's put your niece where your mouth is. Let's put your grandson where your heart is. And let's see. Come on down here with us, with the unwashed masses. Hang out at the Sbarro, at the food court, and come see us. Because right now, Michael Dean, I'm telling you, we are living in a time where if the people don't apply pressure to those that we have elected to represent us, I don't know where this is going, but it ain't nowhere good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I agree with what people are saying on the chat. Maybe we should go ahead and tie a bunch of more benefits that Congress gets to other things, like, maybe they should only get the access to healthcare that people are able to get on, Obamacare. Maybe,
or in their district. That's fair. We all have the same healthcare. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a feeling that healthcare would get fixed real fast if they got the same healthcare as the rest of us. I also like the idea of, like, why don't we make their pay tied to whether or not the government gets funded in general? So if anybody starts missing paychecks, they're number one on that list. I like that idea.
I'm so down for that. I'm down with that. And I'm down for them also not being able to take in any private donations, air quotes, donations. Can we stop with that? A donation. Knock it off. Oh, this is for a speech. Yeah, let me hear that speech, buddy. We allow them to front run when it comes to stocks. We don't bat an eye when somebody with the brain capacity of Marjorie Taylor Greene can benefit $25 million in 4 years. We all know what's up, but it's now to the point where, like, we don't even get what we asked for on the back end for all the, like, I'm actually not totally against quid pro quo if the people get something, but now they're just taking the money and they're not even, fighting for their constituents in any way. And this is now a one-way relationship in which we don't get anything except told that there's a 3.5-hour wait at the airport and to take a good book.
Oh, and it's going to cost you 3 times as much to get there.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about how many people like myself that travel for a living. I mean, because I was like, well, I'll just drive to gigs. First of all, you can't. And second of all, that might be more than flying. And not only is flying expensive and now a headache, but also there's more accidents than we've ever seen because the person over it is the effing guy from Road Rules. That's Sean Duffy, is the head of the aviation department in this country. Everywhere we look, we just have a moron sitting. The ex WWF president's wife is head of our education, talking to Mark Wayne Mullen, talking about what was we ranked. Like everywhere we turn, Michael Dean, there's a dumber person. It's like being in a circus hall of mirrors, only every reflection is slightly dumber than the one you just looked at.
Yeah, so Sean Duffy is the Secretary of Transportation.
Right, that was Pete Buttigieg's old job, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, I feel like that was an upgrade there. Guy from Road Rules. Yeah. I just like, I don't know why you know, what's interesting to me, Michael Dean, is the silence from all the people that said Biden is too old and blah, 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 and we need to change and everything's too woke. I don't hear from those people anymore. They got us in the situation. I'd like to know how they think things are going now that we don't have to look at Biden anymore, even though we have to look at Trump. Did you see that tweet that he sent out this week about this weekend about Iran? I think I screenshot. I know we're running short on time, but just when I say misspellings galore, it's all the stuff that we would have had to sit through. Here it is. Let me I don't know
is this
why.
the one?
I'm gonna I'll just read it off my phone. Okay, it says it's so bad I might have to post. Hold on. It's because it within the first 3 words there's a huge F up. He's just such and also as somebody that like knows people that
Are on drugs?
have sent me yeah, thank you. You know, drugs, like I know what these texts look like, and they look like this, Michael Dean. So let's go ahead. Let me get this one going. Okay, that's 6343. Okay. Sorry, we're doing this on the fly, but these are the kinds of things that are in my phone instead of pictures of my children. It's okay, here it is. I am pleased to report. I am pleased. So good news, Michael Dean. He is pleased to report that the United States of America, comma, and the country of Iran, comma, have had, comma, over the last 2 days, comma, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, period. There's a period. We've been waiting. We've been waiting on a period. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations,
Yeah, no, this is the, Broom Rich.
Yes, this is the known to be of the East kind of witch. This dickhead, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy structure. Commas are just doing so much work. I don't like that he ends everything with "thank you for your attention to this matter." What are we? What is it? A bathroom that's out of order at a Walmart? Like, you don't have to end all your tweets like that, you moron. Okay. So, Michael Dean, this is the world we live in, and I just don't hear from the two woke people. Remember, the world was going to hell in a handbasket because you couldn't grab a coworker's ass cheek during office hours. Remember how you guys fell out about that? So you went out and elected this felon fresh off of a coup, and a legitimate sexual assault conviction, I don't hear you guys now. I'm so annoyed with these strident men and women that are now suddenly silent, Michael Dean. Where are they? I would love to have a little chit chat.
Yeah, it's hard because both sides do this, but you are super critical of the other side and yours can't do anything wrong. And the hypocrisy of pointing fingers and the same thing happens on both sides. It's ridiculous. It's just seems to me to happen a whole lot more on one side than the other. And, another great example, this was a story we didn't get to, but Trump's assault on mail-in voting, when guess what? He votes by mail-in voting. So,
what do you do when your base doesn't care? I would do that too. I mean, if you're just gonna if your base doesn't care about your 34 felonies, how much could they care about your hypocrisy in real time? How much could they care? And he's been right every time. The only thing he can't get out of is this beef with Iran. So that's what I'm going to have my eye on, because he keeps trying to wiggle out, because he's like, well, we just did this to distract from the Epstein thing and it's worked. We don't talk about that as much, but that's because we're looking at what seems to be an impending loss in the Middle East, the end of American hegemony and the end of American dominance, especially in that region.
Right.
And Russia and China are like, cool, bro. Thanks, dum-dum. We'll take it from here.
Well, meanwhile, cashing all of the checks for the oil embargoes that got canceled. I mean,
we lifted those discreetly over the weekend on Iran. If anybody is, on the people that we're currently in a war with. And I wonder why they did that. Maybe it's a token of goodwill to not kick us in the balls on Monday in front of our country. Yeah, we are trying behind the scenes to clean up on aisle 5, and it is not working, bro.
I just want to see what happened, because someone was like, the Strait of Hormuz, what are we gonna do about oil? Hello, just real quick, what are we thinking about that? And they were like, what? Shut up? Or
I don't think they were. I don't think they were in the room. I don't think, if you see a lot of the people that aren't the war hawks, Tulsi Gabbard was none, and I'm no fan of hers, but she was not in these meetings. I think it was Lindsey Graham. I think it was Hegseth. I think it was Marco Rubio, and I think it was Netanyahu in his ear. Like, we need to do. And then do you notice nobody from the Pentagon? He can't even point to them like, well, they told me to do it. The Pentagon has been telling him, dude, you don't want that smoke. You don't want to do it. And as soon as he heard that, he was like, okay, thanks. Can you guys go to lunch? I'm just going to talk to Pete and these other guys real quick. The people that knew that this was a bad idea were not in the room when this decision was made. And that's why you see that now we don't hear as much. We don't remember Lindsey Graham made his big world tour of television stations a couple weeks ago. Won't see that as much anymore. We do see Pete Hegseth saying weird stuff. I mean, he's a war criminal, and so and he's got a weird bloodlust, so he'll be on TV until the very end. But the people that got us into this, and the people that know that it's a long way to the door, we just don't hear from them as much as possible. I mean, as much as you would expect, especially if it was going well. So on that note, Jesus, not only we got to end on a good note. So Michael Dean, I do want to say this. I am marinating some wings in soy sauce, so I'm going to try a new soy sauce rub tonight, and I will let you guys know how that goes, because I'm not going to let these monsters just win and take over our lives. Keep cooking new food, listen to new music, send each other good books, send each other great songs, and just remember, like, during the worst times of the world, like, people still danced, they still made love, they still read poetry, even though no one really wants to hear poetry. They did all these things because it's part of what makes us human beings. And don't let these cornball representatives take that away from us, because that's really what's important, and that's what we got. So on behalf of Michael Dean, Tori Shulman, who is getting a psychic reading right now, I hope her psychic said, I'm predicting that Michael Dean and Al are annoyed that you had a psychic meeting during the effing Showtime. Trust me, she's got other openings. What is she booked? So on behalf of Michael Dean and Al Jackson and Tori Psychic, who I'm sure feels that I'm talking about her right now because that's a real occupation, I will say this, colleagues, I love y'all. I will be here tomorrow, and we'll be back with the show on Thursday. Michael Dean, I love you, and I love ending the show on a cough. Thank you for stepping up and doing the show today. I don't know where we'd be without you, man. Love you, bro.
Love you too.
All right, we out.